Let's get started on two-dimensional arrays in C programming now. So when you look into the declaration for that array actually, right, let's go just into an example so that it is easy for us to understand. We define what's an array type, so we are saying it's an integer, and then we say what's the name of an array, right? So it's the same as one-dimensional only. So as far as the fundamentals are concerned, look into the name of the array and we have to say it's a two-dimensional, so how many rows are there and how many columns are there. So it's like nicely m by n array or m by n matrix. Okay. In this example, what you see is we are defining and declaring both together an array called A, which is an array of integers. It's a two-dimension where the number of rows 3, number of columns 3, and we are simply saying 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2. In terms of memory, in terms of accessing individual elements, you can see that A00, 01, 02. This is the first row. I repeat, the index starts from 0. Index for the row and index for the column. For that matter, anything in array programming, when you talk about index, it always starts with 0 for any dimension. It's a two-dimension, right? So any dimension it has to be a 0. So 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 2, 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, and 2, 0, 2, 1, and 2, 2. So that's how it is. Now, this is a fundamental, as all of you know already, okay? So, how do we add some more understanding about it? That's we will cover slowly actually, okay? And the most important thing, I have seen people just don't understand what it means, okay? You have to understand that in C programming, the language, the compiler, it says that we have to follow the row major storage. So, what it means is, when you talk about a two-dimensional array like this, in the memory, how are you instructing the compiler that, store this data in some particular order? Compiler does not know, or the language has to tell the compiler, right? Because compiler can say that, let me store the column first, then column second, and then the column third. So compiler can do column by column storage in the memory, right? Or compiler can say, okay, we will follow first row, then we will store the second row and the third row. Right? So when you are a designer of your compiler, you have a choice. You have a choice to do either a column wise or the row wise. Okay. So how do we tell compiler, please don't do this? We say that because the language says that we have to follow row major order. So do a row by row. And that's how the compiler says, now I am clear. I don't have any ambiguity. So we will store this in the memory first, followed by this, and then followed by this. So when you see this, don't think the memory is like this, okay? So this is for our representation in our classroom discussion or board discussion, okay? In reality, this memory is contiguous. It's not like an m by n matrix in memory. It's a contiguous from all left to right, lower memory address, say to the higher memory address. How many elements are there? There are 9 elements here, okay? You can see that 3 by 3, right? So 9 elements will be, moving from lower address to higher address. And then we follow the first row and the second row and the third row in the memory. That's how it is. Okay. So remember, this is very, very important point for programmers to understand how things work behind the scenes in the terms of array programming. Okay. All right. So in a multi-dimensional array, elements are stored sequentially or row-wise in the memory. Clear? All right. So how do we declare things? We already know that we require in a two-dimensional array, 2 indices are there or 2 subscripts are there. You'll have extra square brackets for the second index. Okay. So I'm giving some variations on the initialization. Initialization can happen in multiple lines for this array. Or if you want to further do some good improvement for the readability of your array programming, you can always put some nice flower brackets inside your initialization to make sure that yes, they are much more readable. Sometimes the second one, what I have written here, right? This is more interesting because you want to initialize a big chunk, because many times when you do programming, right, in system side, you will have a lot of data which is just fixed and you want to store them in array, and those values are not 0 actually. Okay. You don't require as I told you, you don't require to write 000 everywhere to initialize a local variable, because you can put a bracket as I told earlier. Okay, but as I told, they are not 000, they are a lot of numbers. So you can always say, okay, I have multiple rows, this is the first row and the second row and third row. So this is very good for software engineering. Okay, this is very good for software engineering principles. It improves the readability and maintainability of your code base. Alright, so now comes the interesting part. Okay, so because see, a lot of us fundamentally understand this is an array, but what next, right? So I'm trying to make sure that we understand something little extra, so that we really do a good error-free coding in the first place itself. Okay, so comment on the output or the runtime of the following two-dimensional array. So we have written this. So the choice for you, it's a good code, no issues. Compilation fine, runtime fine, or we have a compilation error, or compilation is fine, runtime error. So three choices are there. Again, please pause the video, make a note, resume the video, and you will get one answer. So the answer is, this code simply can't compile. Why? I will show you in the demo. Wait for a few more minutes. Okay, let's look into other problem, similar problem. Next problem is exactly the same code. I have added one dimension here, the size. Okay, so it's a two-dimensional error. I said, okay, sorry, in a two-dimensional array, I said, okay, we have three rows, right? So will this code work now? Is it a good code? No issues? Or same compilation error? Or same runtime error? Think for a moment, pause, resume the video, and the answer is same as what you saw in the previous case. So the answer is, it won't compile. Why? We will see pretty soon. Third one, I simply flipped the size or the dimension. So instead of saying 3 rows, I am saying 3 columns. Okay, so I just flipped the 3. I moved from here to here. So this is an array. We don't know how many rows, but 3 columns. Okay, so let's see. So is it a good code? Or compilation error or runtime error? Wait for 2 seconds. And your answer is, yes, it's a good code, right? So it's a good code. And the hint here is, C programming language follows a row major order actually. Okay, so always remember that whatever I told you little early on, that is very important actually. Okay, so we will jump into the lab to really get the data for that particular code, right? So let's see something more interesting. We'll jump into pretty soon. So let's see one more interesting problem here. So we have an array A and an array B with 10, 20, 30, and then you have 10, 20, 30, comma, 40, 50, 60, comma, like this. So, is the code good, or we will have a compilation error for array A or array B, or we might have runtime error either with an array A or a B? Any idea? Pause and resume. So ideally speaking, these are the two different flavors for writing your array initialization. This flavor is more for readability, as I already told just a few minutes ago. So the answer is going to be, it's a good code. Compiler, no problems. Runtime, absolutely no problems. Okay. All right. So what we will do now is we will, I think, jump into the lab demo, then we'll look into one slightly more interesting problem. But let's go into the lab demo to validate our understanding of this particular piece of code, right, that we discussed. So when you talk about this, so we have this one, right? So you can see that. So we are declaring an array, a two-dimensional array, defining it with the values. Okay. Now the problem here is when compiler compiles it, think about it, right? Means how will it decide? This bracket is only for readability. Okay, it's not that brackets are mandatory. So how will it decide that it is a 3 by 3 array or only one row with so many elements, 9 columns, or 9 rows and 1 column, right? So so many choices are here in this. So compiler is confused. If compiler is confused, he just can't compile. He says, sorry, I just don't know what you have done. Okay. So when compiler says, I don't know what you have done, then we don't have any choice. Only choice is compilation error. Compiler himself says, I just don't know what it is. Okay. So what is the code here? It's an array 5. So we'll try to compile this code. Okay. Let me come back. We are going to compile this code. And compiler is confused. Is it a 3 by 3 or 9 by 1 or 1 by 9? 3 choices. Okay. So we have a big problem. Okay. What is the problem? Declaration of A as multi-dimensional array must have boundary for all the dimensions except the first dimension. Okay. So the compiler is very intelligent. He's giving you a very nice error message, right? So he says that yes, you have a problem. Array must have a boundary. So here there is no boundary for that array declaration or definition now, right? Must have boundary for all the dimensions except the first one. This is the first one. But if there is a second one, we need dimensions. Okay. So I think compiler says, I just can't help it. Now this comes the interesting. Second one was this one, right? So here the thing is, we have given one dimension, but we have told there are 3 rows, right? But we have not told how many columns are there basically. So compiler is once again confused because compiler says, okay, you have 3 rows, that's fine. But how many elements are there in this row? Is 1 element, 2 element, 3 elements, 4 elements? Because we have not told about the column. So we just don't know in the memory. It's C language follows row major order as I told. So what is the length of a row? In this example, we have not given the length. The length of the row is your column, right? So if it is 3 columns, then it has to allocate a memory for row first 3 columns, then row second in the memory, then the third row, right? So we are not giving the column length. The column length is not there. Compiler says, sorry, I am incomplete. So when you do like this, compile this code, compiler still says compilation error. Exactly. So here we have written A3, absolutely no problem. So declaration of A as multi-dimensional array must have boundary for all the dimensions except the first one. So first one here we have given, but not the second one, right? So column is missing, and this is because C follows row major order in memory for storage. Okay, this is the crux here. So we will flip this now. That's the last thing to do. Correct. So now here what we are telling the compiler, we are saying that we are declaring one array. Array has a lot of rows. We don't know how many rows, but yeah, column is fixed. So the 3 elements are there, right? So when you do 3 elements, you just take first, it goes into the first row because we have given very nicely the size or the boundary, the column width. So we are giving the column width, right? So you have first column, second column and third column, and then the data is over now, right? So this kind of code should not have any problem with the compiler. So I'm compiling it here and compiler is pretty good here. Ignore the warning. Okay, sometimes you might see we can solve the warning because this warning we have not written in integer, right? So we will just solve this, not a problem. But yeah, warning. See this warning about main, it came for everywhere, right? So I just kind of ignored it, but ideally speaking we should not ignore. Okay, so this is perfect compilation. A.out does not write anything because absolutely there is nothing to be done here. There is no printf, no other output in the code, right? So I think that's what it is. So the summary here is C language in array implementation says that if you have an array, it follows row major order for storage of the variables of a array. Okay? Elements of an array. Okay. All right. So let's come back into the class and look into a very, very interesting problem statement to understand it in much more detail for two-dimensional arrays. Okay. So in this class, I have not introduced the concept of arrays and pointers because first we should understand arrays in good detail. In subsequent classes, I am going to talk about pointers in good detail, and then later we'll talk about mixing them together. Okay, I think that is the objective also. We must have a focus. Okay, all right. So look into a very interesting problem. Okay, so we are talking about a two-dimensional array. So we have declared an array called city, having 10 city names here, and then we say it's a 10 by 20, right? So we are saying that it's a two-dimensional array. It's a clear here, and there are 10 rows here: Bangalore, Chennai, Mumbai, Kolkata, Mysore, Raipur, Delhi, Hyderabad, Pune, and Indore. And then we are saying that for each of these rows, the column width is 20, right? So that's what it is. So when you look into this definition, we are talking about, the same thing here, two-dimensional array. Okay. Just as a word of caution, again, there are 10 cities. The index will start from 0 and the index will go to 9. Okay, it would store character strings representing city name up to 20 characters each. Now, this is a common problem, okay? So, we have to understand how things work behind the scenes. So, a lot of interesting things will come actually, okay? So, the first index is about the total count of the number of cities, and the second index kind of indicates the maximum size for the name of those cities actually, right? So, I think this is what we understood as a so-called a simple statement. We will try to dive further into this example to get some good understanding of a two-dimensional array. Okay, so before going there, generally I always ask in all my classes in C programming, okay, please draw the memory diagram. In memory, how this city looks like. City means array, right? So how this array, two-dimensional array looks like in the memory. So we should always try to draw that. Once we draw that, if we are able to draw it correctly, we will have correct answers for a lot of questions that we might have. Okay, so let's look into the question and answer. So here is the same array representation, and then the first thing, what's the size of the memory allocated for the array called city? Okay, so what the size? Two choices I have given here. Make a note of it. Is it going to be 200 or is it just going to be the memory required for Bangalore plus Chennai and then the memory required for these, so much lesser than 200. Okay. So is it like, what is the size of this? So if you have the memory diagram with you, then you have to think how things work. Okay. So please make a note of it. I am going to run it and show you, and later we'll talk about the memory diagram. I will draw the diagram, in my pad, and then we will discuss it. Okay, so remember, two choices. Please tick mark whatever you think you know at this point of time. Okay, let's go into the second one. This is slightly more interesting. Okay, what's the value stored in cities 0, 9? So we are talking about the 0th index. We are talking about at this time Bangalore, because this is the index number 0. So 9, right? So you have to really count it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, right? So this is what is our Bangalore as a string. So what the value is stored in 0, 9, E or null or garbage? Pause the video, make a note of the answer, and then we will go into the lab to see the answer. Next. Look into the next problem. What's the value or the data which is stored in city 0, 15? So again, we are talking about Bangalore. Okay, so Bangalore, Bangalore. So approximately 9 characters. I can read it from here. We are not interested in the 9th. We are interested in the 15th character. Right? So will it be like, it will walk through, it will fall through in the memory? Will it go to the Chennai Sea, or will it be null or some garbage? Okay, think about it, and we are going to give a demo, and we'll run it and try to see what it means here. Exactly the same thing. What's the value stored in city 10, 0? So okay, so we are talking about 10 cities. So what's the value? Null, garbage, I. Make a note of it. Now, interesting one. What the output of the printf percentage S and city? Is it like compiler says, oh, you have given a two-dimensional array name to me, so I have a syntax error, or I will just say, okay, Bangalore, or syntax error, or runtime error, or compiler says, okay, you want an entire city array, so I'll give you all cities. All cities means all of these, because you simply supplied city, right? So you have to just remember that in C programming, certain rules about printfs, right, basically. So let's see what the answer you will get. Make a note of it. We'll discuss this during a lab demo. Next, what's the output of the printf percentage as city 1? So this is going to be Chennai or garbage or syntax error or runtime error, okay? Because here we are passing just the city 1 dimension. What about the second dimension? There is no dimension. Will compiler crib for this? Will there be a compilation problem? We don't know. Let's try to make a note of it and then we'll discuss this further. More interesting one. What's the output of the printf percentage C, city 2, 0? So here we are talking about 2, 0. So we're talking about the second. Technically it is the third city. Index is 0, 1, 2. So I've given you a hint. Your choice. You want to print C or syntax error or runtime or M. Right? Let's take one more, the last one in the sequence. What's the output of the printf percentage as city 2, 0? So same thing. So here I did a percentage C and percentage S. Is it Chennai or is it Mumbai? On that string percentage S. Is it syntax error or runtime error? Make a note of it. Okay. So if you have thought through about all these problems, right? Please make a note of the answer. If you are able to get the answers correct at the first instance for all the slide for this problem, right? I think you really have a good understanding on this. However, if you are not able to get some of the answers correct, we'll discuss them in the demo right now. Okay. So we will go into the demo for this particular topic now. So let's go into the demo. We are going to talk about this one, right? So here I have written the city, Bangalore, Chennai, Mumbai, Kolkata, so on and so forth. Okay. So I think this was the very first question, printf city. So since you have already noted down, so we'll come into this. So 0, 9. And then we're talking about Bangalore. So a lot of people would have said 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So maybe the answer is E, is what some of you would have thought. We'll run the code and we'll try to figure out. Right. So the idea is we'll run the code. So we'll say cc array9.c. Okay, compile it. The answer is going to be absolutely nothing, null. It's null. I repeat, it's not E, it's not the Bangalore E, it's null, because this is when you talk about 9, we are really looking into the 10th element because the index is start with 0. So it is 9 and then that's a null character. The string is terminated with null character. So it's basically a \0 null character. Okay, so that's what we saw. So this is the answer for the first one. Right. Let's look into the second one. What was the second one? We are talking about 0, 15. Okay. So will the compiler optimize the space automatically because we have initialized like this? So a lot of people say, okay, this is 9 plus 1, 10. This may be 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Maybe n will come. Okay. I have not given the choice as n here. Okay. But remember that when we run this code, array 9, we will see whether what we have written as n, will it come or not? Whether the compiler optimizes the memory, right? That's the question here. So the answer here is null. So it says equal to 0 value, right? So when you see the string, yeah, it's value 0, means nothing is there, it's null. Why? Because remember that compiler does not do optimizations for an array in the sense that you have declared an array of 10, 20. So there are 10 rows and each one of them is 20 bytes. Okay. Now the question is, when you talk about 20 bytes, it is Bangalore. Bangalore is only 9 bytes followed by a null character. So 9 bytes followed by a null. So total 10 bytes are there. What about out of 20 bytes, 10 bytes is Bangalore followed by a null. What about the remaining 10 bytes? Remaining 10 bytes, since we have initialized the array, as I have already told you, it's going to be null or 0. So anything beyond Bangalore, 9 bytes, 9 characters, everything other will be simply a null character or 0. So that is the reason we are talking about so-called 15, which is nothing but a 16th element now. It is all null, right? So that's the reason you are seeing a null. Nothing is there. Null means nothing when you are printing it, okay? So let's go into the city now. So when you talk about city, we straight away said we want to display percentage as city. City is a two-dimensional array. So will it print Bangalore or compilation error or runtime error, or will it print all the cities? That was 4 choices, right? So when we compile this, let's see. So in this case, there are obviously some minor problems, okay? Problems coming because of syntax of the C language, okay? So if you see that we are giving a two-dimensional array, so we have created a two-dimensional array and we are saying percentage s. Percentage s does not expect a two-dimensional array address. It expects basically a character pointer or simply a address of some sort of a character array or a one-dimensional character array, to be more precise, right? But it gave a warning saying that percentage s expects a character pointer, but the argument 2 is nothing but it's a pointer to our character array. That's what it says. It's a pointer to some sort of a character array, basically, right? That's what it is saying. This is what it is. So it says that we have an array of 20 and it's a pointer. So this is what we are supplying here. This is not same as what we expect. So there is the problem. So compiler is very clear, but compiler knows that in C programming, we do type checking, but we are not strict because programmers are really supreme. They can do a lot of shortcuts, lot of very quick code using certain heuristics or logic which defeats the purpose of the programming language types actually. Okay, so we can either do a typecast to solve our problem for the compilation error, or we can ignore this warning, okay, generally. So we got an a dot out here, okay, it gave a warning, but we got an a dot out. A dot out is there because you can see that. Let me just do rm a dot out. We'll recompile this so that we know. I have recompiled it, as you can see it here, okay. So here when you compile it, you got a dot out. So we'll do an first ls minus la dot out. So yeah, it is already there, and then we run this code a dot out. Once we run this, we got the city as Bangalore, right? So this is the Bangalore. We are talking about the city. We are supplying a two-dimensional array. The address of a two-dimensional array is nothing but the address of the first element itself, right? So that is how we are seeing the Bangalore here. So I hope this is clear now. So when you talk about this, let's talk about the city 1. I have written city 1. Okay, city 1, this should not have a problem because this is the 0th index for the city. So this is the first one. Okay, so Chennai. So we are looking at city 1 as a one-dimensional array. We are simply supplying it, the one-dimensional, right, basically. So we compiled it. There is absolutely no compilation error or warning because we are simply supplying the address for the first element. And then when you print it, it says Chennai. This is what it is, right? So you are seeing Chennai here as a answer. So I think this is clear. We don't have to worry so much. Now comes the interesting part. This was the next one. So you wanted to display the character at city 2, 0. So you pretty much know that this is the city first. So this is the second city. So this is 0th in terms of index, first and second. So this is this one. So M is the character there, right? You can see it. So if you got it right, pretty good actually. Otherwise, anyway, we are compiling it. And then the answer will be M value. So you can see that it is M. So I think this was clear. Now comes the last part of this puzzle, right? So this is the last part. So 2, 0 percentage as value city 2, 0. So we are still saying Mumbai M, but we said percentage S. If you do a percentage S, a lot of people think that they want to print Mumbai, but that is not correct because the compiler will treat this as a address. It will treat M as an address. The ASCII value of M is approximately around between 65 to something like 75, 80, right? In that range, they are. So that value, that very small value of around 75, 80, right? Some value will be treated like an address and we'll have a core dump. It's a segmentation fault. It's a problem. We are accessing an illegal memory. That's what it means basically, right? So when you do this code, when you compile it, compiler will have a problem, but it gives you a warning. He says that you have supplied percentage S, but you're supplying some value here, integer, some integer or a character, which is like an M, some value. It's a very low value actually, okay? So when you compile it, it says when you run it. So compilation was fine. It gave only a warning. When you run it, boom. So you will have a core dump because it's an illegal memory access. If you know it's illegal, it's illegal. You don't have to worry why it gave a core dump, why it did not give a core dump, because I have a setting in my Ubuntu machine that generates a core dump. Okay. So what was that value? Just to quickly print is because it's an ASCII value M, right? So there are two ways we can easily print the value if you want it. So let me print we'll put %d. %d is nothing but an ASCII value for this M. Okay. So we will just say, we'll compile this. So let me do a compile and then we'll print. So the value was 77. Okay. So this is the ASCII value 77 for M, capital M, right? But it generated a core dump because we tried to jump into that address as part of our programming, right? Okay, so I think now we understand how things are working behind the scenes in the system, right? Basically, so this is what we always needed to know when you think about programming. Two-dimensional array, and we have a character sequences, right? Basically, so you have to be very careful about it. So we are back into the class, and I said I'm going to talk about the memory diagram for the same problem. What problem? We are talking about this Bangalore Chennai, right? So in reality, what is going to happen here is when you talk about memory diagrams, right? We just have to understand that memory diagrams are always a good precursor. So if you know the memory diagram, we can always easily, understand how the code is going to work. So let me go into the diagram. So we are talking about the city. So we have an array called city. Okay, this is the array. It's a two-dimensional array. So when you say two-dimensional array, when you have to draw things on a whiteboard or a blackboard, actually, right? We simply say that this is the first row, this is the second row, this is the third row, fourth row. It will go on like this because this is what we try to draw so that people can understand. Okay, so we are going to have around 10 such rows, and then for every row we have around 20 columns, right? So this is how it will be. So 20 columns will be there. For every row we have 20 columns. Compiler cannot do any further optimization. It is 10 into 20. So the total size of the array is basically 10 into 20, which is nothing but 200 bytes. 200 bytes of character, right? We're talking about character array, 200 bytes. Now this is from the point of view of understanding for you, okay? But is it like a two-dimension really gets created in memory? Absolutely not, no. C follows row major storage order. So when you talk about this in terms of memory, what you will see here is the first row of 20 elements. I repeat, this is your city array, right? This is city, and then this is the first row of 20 elements. Then you have the second row of 20 elements, and then third row of 20 elements. It will go on like this up to the so-called 10th row, right? So I think this is what is the direction you have, and then this is basically a row major order. So first row, and then the second row, and the third row. So that's how the memory diagram is. There should not be any confusion. This is the real memory diagram, and this is our understanding of how we try to understand in a whiteboard 2 dimensions actually. Okay, all right, so let's move further and look into the diagram, right? Basically, so I always say memory diagram is very important. Why it is important? If you know the memory diagram, you pretty much solve the problem. If you don't know it, you always have that confusion, whether it is like this. So always draw memory diagram. Your concepts will always be clear, when you have the memory diagram, not only for arrays, for anything for that matter. Okay. All right. Now comes a very interesting performance engineering question. It can be a fantastic interview questions in some high quality interview rounds. Okay. So the point here is we have a two-dimensional array here with an index I, j. So we have two variables ij. In both of these for loops, the first for loop and the second for loop, we are absolutely doing the same thing. We are initializing the array. With a value of I plus j. So it's a 10 by 10 array. We are initializing it with the I plus j. Okay, that there is a difference. So you please pause the video because this is a very interesting problem. Okay, you can pause the video to understand the for loop. If you are more careful, you will see that we are doing, for I equal to 0, I less than j, j equal to something. Similarly, for I equal to 0, I less than 10, and then for j equal to 0. So for loops are absolutely same. But we are using aij and aji. Okay, so this is the two for loop. The question to you is, which for loop will be faster? Which for loop will get executed faster? I think that is the question. Which loop is faster? Right? So you can think for 2 minutes, pause, resume. So the answer is first one. The first for loop is faster than the second for loop. Initialization is just same. Okay. Any guesses why the first for loop will be faster than the second for loop? Okay. What are you seeing here? You are seeing I comma j. For I equal to 0, you are going through all the columns. So you are talking in a memory. You are really going into the first row and then initializing every single element of that row. So in the memory, the data is just there back to back. So you are initializing it fast. Okay, you don't have to basically jump around in different rows basically, right? When you look into this, you have sent aji. So what is aji? I is 0. J keeps on moving around. So you are talking about the first row, 0th element. Second row, 0th element. Third row, 0th element. So you are going into so many rows and then you are initializing the 0th element of each of these rows. So you are jumping around in the system. You are jumping around in the memory locations in the second for loop. Whereas in the first for loop, you are pretty much doing a very serial initialization of every row, right? So we have something known as locality of reference, right? So the one that is next to each other, which always have a faster execution as per the design of the system, as per the computer architecture, as per the fetching of the memory. So a lot of things are there which works behind the scene. Okay, so due to locality of reference, this will be faster execution as compared to this. Here we are literally doing sequential execution, sequential assignment, initialization of all the elements of row number 0, then row number 1 like this. In the second case, it is not sequential. We go to row 1, the first row and then the first column. Then you go to the second row and then the first column. Then you go to the third row and the first column, right? So we are jumping. Once this gets over, then we come back to the first row and then second column, second column, second column. So we are jumping around, right? So it will not be faster. Even though the end result is going to be the same, I plus j, right? So we have to understand that, array programming is tricky because at one level you try to do a code, and then second level you have to do a good code, and then on top of that you have to think about performance engineering to be a really true software programmer actually. Okay, and that is what generally we look forward to in the industry, a person with a very good knowledge about the language, how things work behind the scenes, and then performance on top of it, right? Okay, so I think that's pretty much it. I have given you the demo about one-dimensional array and two-dimensional array. Thank you very much for patiently listening to this class, and I will come up with the next topic on pointers. So the next video will be on pointers. Thank you very much. Thanks for watching the video. We have put important links in the description and the comment section below. If you really enjoyed our video, please press the like button below. We plan to release one video per week. So go ahead and subscribe to Sanfoundry by pressing the subscribe button below and turning on the notification bell.